Hello and welcome to the Eclipse Evolution podcast. I'm your hostess, Savannah Rose. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I might mention too, I have a co-host yet again, my loyal cuddly one. For those of y'all who are tuning in audio-wise, I have my orange kitty with me today. He's my loyal helper. He's always in my office with me when I'm working. It's so sweet. He's here today, so you might see me petting him or you might see a tail every now and again. But anyways, thank you again for joining me today. This is part 2 of my 2025 processing journal collaboration episode. So for those of y'all who maybe this is your first time joining me or who haven't watched part 1 yet. So to end this season, this 3rd year of my podcast, I have 48 questions, journal prompts in a few different sections. I want to say 5 or 6 different themes that I'm answering. And I will also be sharing these questions with you so you can also answer these questions in your own journal. But it's all about processing this past year. And this is kind of a timeless exploration. You're welcome to do this journal exploration at any point, really. It doesn't have to just be this year. I'm finding that these questions are very applicable to wherever you are in life. So it's just good to look at these different areas of life. And as New Year's is just in a couple days as I'm filming this, I like to be very intentional about these final days of the year to celebrate the wins, to reflect on the lessons and challenges, and just move forward into the next year feeling complete and excited to start up a whole new year. So without further ado, this is part 2. The first few sections we covered were big picture, self-relationship and identity, love, relationships and connection, power, confidence, and voice. And then we finished with shadow healing and lessons. So that's all contained in part 1. And then part 2, what we're going to be exploring is creativity, purpose, and expression, home, body, and daily life, growth, values, and integrity, and then closing the year. So, and it's going to be in ritual style. So again, I'll be sharing all these questions for you or with you so you can do this at your own time, or you're welcome to pause this podcast episode and answer in sync with me, whatever floats your boat. So without further ado, let's dive in. We're picking back up with creativity, purpose, and expression, with our first question being really question 26 out of the whole spread. How did my creativity shift this year? Okay, this is a great question. I feel like my creativity shifted to more videos and just expanding what I share in my videos, because before I would share just kind of like highlights or stuff that I thought was more maybe um exciting, maybe isn't the right word, but just alluring perhaps. And I've just started to share a lot more of just the things that bring me joy. And I just have released a lot of, I would say, attachment to how other people perceive the content that I make. I've just been really wanting to tap into creating for myself and creating things that just make my heart smile. And so with that, I've created like my pet page, Chateau Cuddles, which features Cuddly One and all his siblings, and just sharing lots of videos just of the day-to-day moments that are just so cute, because I'm truly living my dream as an animal lover and pet lover and homebody, truly, of just enjoying my domestic life with my fiance and all of our little babies that we have, all our little pet babies, and just really finding joy in the day-to-day moments, in the silly moments and the cute moments. And I just have really expanded that content. It used to be something I would maybe just share here and there on my personal page, but creating a whole account to dedicate to that content it's just been a lot of fun. And it's also been fun. My family has really enjoyed it. And here I go with fuzz stuck to my face yet again. It tickles me so much. Just one of the cons of having a kitty in your lap while you're working is there's going to be fur floating around at all times. But so my content's definitely expanded that way. I've also expanded in showing more, I guess you'd say, like behind the scenes too. That's just a lot of fun to share that process. And whether it's like my cosplay that I did this year for the Neutron movie and showing like how I made my cosplay and the movie premiere that I got to go to. So that was a lot of fun. But I think I'm really looking forward to next year. I really want to share more intentional videos about my divine feminine practices and just feminine embodiment and my Empress embodiment that I've been sharing a little bit about here and there. And for those of y'all who maybe are new, who haven't like tuned into like what I mean by the Empress embodiment, I share the Empress archetype or like the Empress tarot card and what that card represents to me and how to embody what I feel like are my own Empress traits and really learning to walk in those and live my life according to that archetype. And it's just an energy that I really admire, but it's also something that's kind of innate within me. And I think that's what really attracted me to that archetype. And so I just, in that practice and that study of that archetype, really want to share more content that I've learned with others out there so they can just kind of explore their own inner Empress and learn what that means to them and just bring more of that earthly pleasure to their life too. So that's, I guess, how you'd say my content has expanded. I mean, with my magazine in particular, I haven't released a volume this year. I've just had like too much in my personal life that I feel like was taking my, or requiring my energy, or that I was giving my energy to, I should say, as well as like my book that I'm going to be releasing early 2026 as well. So just really trying to get back in touch with the content that makes me happy and that's of my own original creation. I really felt a call this year to step away from consuming so much and just noticing how consumption was draining me and leaving me feeling really deflated or uninspired, and understanding that that's really like a call for my own creativity to come and to flow from me and to move from like a kind of passive consumer to an active creator. And so I'm excited to continue to create more, again, just of the things that bring me joy, of the things that enrich my life and everything in between. So that's how I would say my content or my creativity has shifted this year. And I feel like I've also really like locked in on like my brand more because I feel like that was something, it's not that I didn't take it seriously, but I feel like this year I really honed in on like brand cohesion and presentation and just kind of giving my brand a glow up overall. Like my website right now is in the process of being like totally remade, which it's been a long time coming, and just inviting new energy into that. Like I did new photos this year with one of my friends who's a photographer, and that just like brought some new energy to my website. But yeah, I would say that's kind of how my creativity has shifted this year. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And it's been a very organic process too. So that's question 26. Let's see, 27. When did I feel most aligned with my purpose? It's a good question. I would say I felt very, very aligned with my purpose when I hosted my one-on-one private retreat this winter, or I guess like fall. It was early November. I hosted a private one-on-one retreat for a client of mine, and it was a very inclusive wellness retreat. So it was like she came and stayed with me. So it was like very bed and breakfast style. So I like had meals made for her that were all very healthy. She had her own private room in my guest room, but it was just very like holistic and accommodating to what her personal goals were. And we covered a lot of territory. I mean, gosh, we did breath work, we did Reiki, we did a scream session, we did multiple Reiki sessions, actually. We did a hypnotherapy session, we did plant medicine, we did a fireside ceremony, lots and lots of integration, hours of integration. So it was over the course, like she spent the night. So it was over the course of afternoon, evening, and then into the majority of the following day as well. And so that's all the stuff we did off the top of my head. And that was a truly, I mean, it was just equally as transformative for me, I feel like, as it was for her. Just being able to, one, exercise all those different skills of mine, like holistically in kind of one fell swoop, but also being able to walk with her through so many experiences. Because I mean, just one of those experiences alone is very potent and powerful, let alone like compressing that into one weekend. It was very intensive, very, I mean, gosh, compressed is the best word. It was just one healing modality after the next, but it was something that was so transformative for her. And when she left the following day, just how uplifted she was and how like physically different she felt, like how she didn't feel brain fog anymore and she just felt lighter and like all this stuff that was in her body was able to finally get out, and it was a truly amazing experience. That is something like being present with someone in that way and giving to them in that way and in it with them, each step of the way is truly remarkable. That was probably one of the highlights of my year, honestly. But just as a practitioner, it was something that like was like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm really like meant to do this work. So I'm excited to be able to provide more of those experiences to other people next year, as well as like some, I would say, adapted versions perhaps, or even like group experiences. I'm not really sure where I'm going with all that yet. I'm really just taking it case by case right now. But it was really, really special. And it just was such a firm reminder of like, I am meant to be a healer in this world, no matter how I do it, through like this podcast or through my videos or through my book. But it was something about like that human connection um and experience that was really cool. And it was also just really fun, like thinking of all the different things and planning it and getting all the materials and set up. Like I'm such a nester by nature and like hostess by nature. So being able to do that in like a therapeutic way and like holistic way was just super cool. So that was definitely just such a great reminder. And then like as I've been working on my book as well, as I mentioned in part one of this episode, was I feel like I was procrastinating on my book a lot because some of the emotions contained in the poems are just very charged and some of them are pretty heavy. And I just felt like I didn't have space for that because I was going through so much in my present, like so much good stuff, a lot of change and adjustment, but that was also very consuming of my energy and mental space. So, because I was planning on working on my book a lot this summer, but life was just giving me different, I was focusing a lot more on my present life and integrating my fiance and our home life and um, all that big adjustment, that big life change, which was all very smooth and loving and positive, but still like an adjustment. And so when I finally felt like I was able to pick up that project again, like my book again, it was definitely very challenging, but it was also very cathartic and empowering. And I feel like I finally was able to like lay a lot of things to rest and get them out of my body and feel some sense of like justice as well. And also like a little like smug satisfaction. Oh, because the tea in this book is so scalding, y'all. Just get ready. And then also like calling in what I want and being grateful for what I have and celebrating like the love I have with my fiance and the passion and the depth and the devotion. That's also been very hand in hand with my own like feminine exploration that I've really been able to step further into this year as well, being in such a divine partnership with a very masculine provider man, like really being able to have that yin and yang and that balance and experience my own femininity in a way that I haven't really had the safety to do so in past relationships. So I'm really grateful for that. And that's definitely influenced so many different areas of my life, like my creativity. So I'm very grateful for that. And so next question, 28, what did I create that felt soul-led? I feel like I kind of already answered this with my retreat and with my book. Everything has been very soul-led this year, and I credit a number of things. Like I credit my divine feminine journey with that and just really tuning into my body and my embodiment process and my intuition and allowing that to really lead a lot of my moves this year in pacing and timing, as well as just really tuning into like my mindfulness as well. And like I mentioned in part one, eliminating cannabis out of my life right now. Again, totally fine if that's your thing, but I just felt like it was distracting me and taking too much of my energy rather than like helping me feel relaxed. So releasing that was pivotal, I think, for just feeling clear-headed and connected with myself, and therefore more in touch with my soul. And I feel like that allowed me to do so much emotional excavation because I was able to feel things more deeply, and I wasn't like suppressing anything, but I was really squaring up with a lot that I think I needed to. And I'm very grateful for that. And so therefore, I feel like so much of this year was very soul-led, and my soul was very much informing a lot of the moves, especially like with my partnership and my engagement. I'm just gonna flash it one more time because, oh my gosh, it's just so pretty. So I feel like, yes, definitely my creativity and like that has not just been like the yeses, but it's also helped inform the nos because there were some opportunities that came my way that I like had to say no to, or just did not feel soul aligned, or felt like they were going to be keeping me in unhealthy cycles of like overgiving or staying in like the capitalist, grinding, masculine energy that I don't want to be a part of anymore. So that was also a very big part of the soul led decision making, is like saying yes and saying no to certain things. So I'm very grateful for that. And I feel like that really helped me like what's the word, like build some chops and strengthen that skill set within myself of practicing that discernment. And so I feel very optimistic for next year and what it's going to bring my way. So, and question 29, what blocked my expression and what freed it? Okay. I think what blocked my expression was self-censorship. That's something I really have worked on and I'm continuing to work on, is self-censorship, like my own releasing of like anticipated judgment or maybe like anticipated reactions from people. So it's not something I'm like actively experiencing, but maybe because of past experiences or feedback I've received from family members or my previous employers or whatever it was, like really censoring myself and therefore not like truly living in my power. And that was just something I had developed over time due to like self-preservation. And so I think that's the thing I've really worked on clearing and confronting and clearing out the most this year, is like the self-censorship. And part of that, of course, too, coming hand in hand with like imposter syndrome or comparison to other people or other contributing factors. And that's another reason why I wanted to move away from consumer mentality to more just creation. Because I noticed when I was consuming a lot of content, it was kind of tainting my own vision, or like making me feel like, oh, I shouldn't make this video because it's already been done, or like I shouldn't make this video because it's kind of a hot button thing or whatever, and just kind of giving less of a shit about that, honestly, and just making it because it's something I believe in and something I feel strongly about and something that makes me happy. Is so that's definitely something that blocked my expression. So I guess what freed it was just remaining grounded in myself and what I want to create, and kind of thinking about just the fragility of life and just remaining humble in the fact that like we're not going to live forever. And I would hate to, and we're not going to live forever. And I'll add, like, we don't know when the end is going to be for us. Like, we're not guaranteed a life to our 90s, you know? And that's something that I was reminded of this fall when someone close to me, his mom passed away. And just being in that experience, I haven't had like a personal death experience in a while, thankfully. But just touching that threshold of death was really a powerful reminder of how it's inevitable and life is very fragile. And the person who passed was also very young. And so that was something like kind of a wake up call of like, oh my gosh, like I need to make what I need to make while I'm on this earth. Like I need to do the things that bring me the most joy now while I can, and not make excuses or censor myself or live in fear of like, what if? I think the biggest what if that I fear is, what if I don't do it and I die? Like, I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's true. It's like, I would hate to be on my deathbed or experience some kind of major health issue that would alter my ability to create the content that I enjoy and create from the heart space that I enjoy making things from. And I don't want to lose that. And while I got it, I need to use it. So that was like a big factor for me this year, was just kind of squaring up with that reality and not doing it from a place of fear, but doing it from a place of like respect for my life and respect for my heart and what's inside of it, and releasing expectations of like, what can it bring me? Like, what monetary benefits can I get? And like focusing on that as the goal, but like really focusing on like, what makes me happy? Like, what do I think is important? And just letting that be my guide. So all that to say, that's kind of the thing that freed a lot of my expression, is knowing that like I'm not gonna be able to express forever, you know? Ooh, number 30. This question's so good, y'all. Okay. How did my relationship to rest affect my creativity? Y'all, I gotta put my phone down for this one. This is a question that I love. Rest and our relationship has not been the best in the past. Let's just say that. I feel like, as some of y'all know who have been on this journey with me, like burnout was a huge part of my reality for a while. And therefore, like with burnout was not enough rest and not even knowing how to rest. Truly, it wasn't that like I didn't want to or couldn't. There was just a lot of like, I didn't know how to rest. And so I think that's something I'm really grateful for with this past year, is learning how to rest. Like truly learning how to rest and not feeling like guilty for it. I still have to remind myself from time to time, but yeah, learning how to rest and allowing rest to nourish me and to be a part of the creative process. Because like when it comes down to creation, like we're co-creating with the universe. And this is like with anything that we're making or anything that we're manifesting, it's like we're not doing all the work ourselves. Like there's a lot going on behind the scenes, right? And rest is an important time for us to recharge, take care of our body, um, noodle, get new ideas, not get burnt out, stay healthy. Like there's so many benefits of resting. And it gives space for the rest of the co-creation process to take place. Because if we're always hands-on doing it ourselves 100% of the time, we're not leaving space for the mystery. We're not leaving space for the magic. We're not leaving space for the universe to work on our behalf. So that's something I've learned with resting, is like, not only is it a giving thing for myself, but it's a giving thing for all the other energies that are at work when it comes down to the creative process, and how rest just gives flow and space to what we're making. And I've had to definitely, with that, like release a lot of my own rigidity with timelines, because sometimes I would like have a goal of like, I want to do this today by this time. And then like if I'm doing maybe 2 out of those 4 tasks and feeling like exhausted or hungry, like in the past I would like deny myself that rest just to get the stuff done, just because like I was rigid on that deadline or rigid on that goal. And then like, yeah, I'm completing the stuff maybe, but it's like not my best work. I feel like shit. The energy in which I'm creating the stuff from is from a depleted energy, is from a lack mentality. And that shows in your work, right? So understanding that, like that grace and that flexibility and that flow is just as crucial to invite that rest in, because we're not going to rest if we're not giving ourselves space to do so. So rest, I think it kind of has this hand in hand relationship with spaciousness. Like it gives space for the other energies to work in our life. And then it also is us giving ourselves space to be in more of like a flow state with what we're creating. And that's inevitably going to make what we're making and creating better, and coming from a place of abundance and wholeness. And I'm not sure if y'all hear that. My kitten is trying to get in. She's so silly. I can't have her in here while I record because she's crazy and she just wants to mess with everything. So she's outside the door protesting right now. But that's how it is. Not everybody can be as chill as Cuddly right here. He's just hanging out with me, just being so sweet. Look at him. He's so cuddly. I love him. He's like, stop picking me up. Oh, he's so sweet. Okay. So that concluded our creativity, purpose, and expression section. So moving on to the next section, home, body, and daily life. This is another thing I've really focused on this year. Okay, question 31. How did my body speak to me this year? I feel like this year I really, really tuned into the wisdom of my womb. Oh my gosh, my womb spoke to me so much this year because when I was pushing myself or exhausted, my womb would be the first one to tell me if I would start to cramp or I would start to get like backaches. And so that was a very informative process for me this year. Where before I would just take medicine, write it, keep pushing. But this year, I feel like I really, really leaned into listening to my womb and allowing that to kind of guide my rest cycles as well. So I'm very grateful for the wisdom that my womb has given me. And it's also given me a lot of insight into just my overall health and um I would say like my stress levels is what I mean by that. So like if my period was a little bit late, I was like, okay, I can tell like this travel, like just for example with Christmas, like I was supposed to start bleeding on Christmas Day, but I didn't start till like a few days after. And I could tell it was like, okay, all this traveling, all this like family time, all the running around, all the this, that, and the other was taking so much energy from me that my body literally could not complete this cycle. It couldn't start this process. My dog is barking. What's he barking at? Anyways, my body could not do this next step to my cycle. And so that was, is he barking at? I have to pause this. Oh no, I guess he's done. Okay. Anyways, he's such a watchdog. He's so fierce. But yeah, like that was another way that my womb was informing me of like, I really need to rest and take time for myself. So that was really, really helpful. And then my skin was another thing that was very informative to me this year as well. Kind of similar to my womb, where if I was like breaking out more, it was very much information of how I needed to perhaps like cut back on sugar or kick up maybe like my moisturizer or change some things. My hair was telling me a lot this year too, because I was dealing with a lot of dryness and lack of volume. And that was something that was also very helpful for me just to kind of change my products and tune into my scalp health. So peppermint on my scalp was really helpful, more scalp massages. Changing my shampoo was really helpful. So my conditioner as well, doing more like hair masks. So um, yeah, I would say like beauty regimens are so much more than like aesthetics. Like yes, definitely aesthetics are part of it, but I think beauty is way deeper than just like surface level. It's very much like a representative of how we are holding ourselves and the care that we show ourselves and how like the outward expression is very much symbolic of the inner balance. So I would say those are some of the ways that my body was talking to me. And then also I think like my back, I just noticed it. That's why I adjusted my posture. My back has been another messenger of my body of just the need for more movement because I have a very stationary profession and being like the homebody that I am, I tend to just like want to stay cozy and like snuggle all the time. And I could tell how that was also like affecting my energy. And so like making sure I have movement and stretching and foam rolling and all those things has also been very crucial for just like my overall like mental state too. So those are the things that come to mind. Yeah, but our bodies, they definitely talk to us. Oh, I already kind of answered this. So question 32, what habits supported me most? Yeah, so I really got into skincare and hair care this year. Um, and I don't like color my hair or anything. It's more just like the nourishment piece, like being very, very picky about like how I nourish my hair and skin. So yeah, getting really into that. And then yeah, like I said, movement, stretching, foam rolling, even if it's just like a few minutes a day, just really trying to keep that blood flow. And that's another thing too I learned this year is that like I'm anemic, so I need my vitamins, I need my iron. And that's been a huge game changer just in helping me feel more comfortable and not cold all the time. So yeah, that was definitely helpful. Question 33, what environments helped me feel safe and inspired? Safe and inspired. I have got to say my home life has just been So nice. I'm so grateful for my home life with my fiance, all our little furry babies. It's just been my sanctuary. It's been my creative space. It's where I live life, and I feel like my inner life here at home is so enriching. Like, I, like, barely leave my house, y'all. Like, I barely leave my house. It's crazy. Especially since we have, like, our home gym now. Like, there's no reason for me to go anywhere. Like, I love being at home. It's so great. And there's, like, parks super close by. If I go anywhere, I go to the park. But I love our home life. It's so safe and so supportive, and I just feel like there's just an abundance of everything that we need. I mean, my partner, he's such a great provider, and I just feel like I just really feel like I'm living the dream. Because when I was a little girl, I was, again, being the, neurodivergent baddie that I am, it's being out in environments and social environments, it can just be very draining for my energy. So having my home be my sanctuary, my safe space where I can recharge and also, like, spend majority of my time. It's just how I'm built. I think I'm just built to be this way. And so I'm just very grateful that that is my reality and that every day is one that I really get to design how I want to spend it. And I have everything at home essentially that I need. So it's so magical. Okay, question 34. Where did I learn to slow down? This is such a good question. I feel like I learned to slow down. I feel like I learned to slow down in my creative work, truly, like not creating for the sake of production, but creating because I like care about what I'm making. Because I think there's so much pressure nowadays, like to be consistent, post every day, post multiple times a day. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so much to keep up with. And I honestly just don't want to do that. Like, I just don't want to do it. That's not how I'm built. I like to create when I'm inspired and create when it's something I care about, not just to stay relevant or to appease an algorithm. I just don't want to live my life and base my creativity around a damn algorithm. Like, I just don't. Like, that is so gross to me. So I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself this summer as I was especially like moving more into like the content creator um role and embracing that more, which is like I gotta make stuff all the time and like set up like a schedule to do it. And it's just I'm not built that way. And I mean, of course, like I like structure and I need structure and I give that to myself and I build that. But again, like being super rigid with it and then feeling like a failure if I don't follow through on everything, that's not helpful at all. So I kind of had like a moment when my fiance and I went on vacation this summer where I was just like, I just need to have fun. I just need to make more of what is fun for me, and that's enough. And it won't feel like a ton of work, and I can make what I want to make, and that's more than enough. And that was just such a nice reminder. And to take breaks, like I haven't been on my phone very much this holiday season because I just don't want to be on it. I just don't care. And not that I don't care about my friends, but it's like I just don't want to have my mental space be consumed by online stuff right now. I want to stay connected to this processing of the end of the year and processing and tuning inwards. It's really important for me. So, did I answer the question? How did I learn to slow down? So, or where did I learn to slow down? So, yeah, I think slowing down in my creativity and like in my book, I didn't push myself because I was also kind of like, I want to publish this by the end of the year. And then when it came down to it, I was like, I'm going to be rushing. It's not going to be good. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm not going to want to promote it. I think I should just take my time and release it in the spring. And that was just such a gracious decision um, that I made for myself. I think it's just going to allow me so much more joy in the process. I'm just very grateful for that. Like just slowing down and creating when it feels aligned and not like pushing that for any expectations that I might have of myself or that I might feel externally pressure wise. So yeah, that's the answer to that one. So question 35. We're almost getting there, y'all. We're almost getting to the end. This is the last question for this section. So, how did I care for myself when life felt heavy? This is a really good question. I would say like focusing on my body, like really just tuning into what I'm eating and making sure it's nourishing or like indulging as well. Like I think you can have both be really healthy for you. Like both can be healthy, even the unhealthy stuff. Like last night, for example, I had a great salad. It was very healthy. I had tuna, the works, veggie soup, and then I had delicious chocolate Rocky Road ice cream because life is about balance. And it's like one was for my body, the other was for my soul. And I feel great. It was perfect. Um, yeah, I think just really tuning into my body. And I think caring for ourselves can also include asking for help. I really learned a lot about asking for help this year. Is of course very beneficial, or like what contributes to me asking for help and learning how to do that is having a partner who is happy to help and who wants to provide and that help. So that's something I think kind of goes hand in hand with learning how to do that and reinforcing that skill of learning how to ask for help is also being able to have people that will, shocker, right? And then I think too, like practicing and embodying a lot more, I would say like self-compassion. And because I think like I've mentioned a moment ago, like rigidity was something that I've been like learning to let go of more and more. And I think like that's something that goes hand in hand with that self-care is also releasing unnecessary rigidity and expectations as well. And so that's something too. I think I've been able to just cultivate a lot more just overall satisfaction with life is in doing so, is like not going into things with expectations or like being gentle about like how I'm feeling about situations and not trying to like suppress it or just like get through things, but rather like how can I hold myself? How can I ground myself? What's maybe showing up for me that's tender that like I need to give myself extra attention on and do some work around like introspection wise to make these soft spots like contain more healing. So those are different ways I would say I've cared for myself. And crying, I love to cry. I'm a crier. Yes, I cry so much. It's great. I have to have that release. Oh my God. Okay. All right, next section, growth, values, and integrity. Question 36, what values became non-negotiable for me in 2025? This is a good question. What values became non-negotiable? I think balance. I guess, can balance be a value? I guess so. But yeah, I think balance was key in helping me practice discernment and like say yes and no to certain things is like if they were balanced. And I think with that, like respect, I think respect was also like a non-negotiable for me, whether it was like in interactions with people, or in agreements. Again, like in order for them to feel balanced, there needed to be like mutual respect and just not not over giving. I think that's important. So I would say, yeah, balance, respect, and I think there's one. I'm trying to think what is the word? I think balance. I kind of feel like a broken record. I would say like balance. Also, I think in relationships, and like I mentioned in part one, like releasing a certain friendship that just was not feeling balanced as far as positivity. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but in this particular friendship, it just always felt like I was having to do so much emotional labor to care for this other, like this friend's feelings. With that, it felt like I couldn't share about certain things about my life because it would trigger her. Actually, now that I think about it, this kind of happened with a couple different friends. But that being said, just understanding that like a truly balanced, equal friend isn't going to be triggered by my happiness or success. Like they can be, I guess this would be the value is like abundant mindset. If that can be a value, abundance, is that a value? I guess. But that's how I really wanted to operate this year was like, I want to think abundantly. I want to manifest abundance, not just monetarily, but abundance of love, abundance of opportunity, abundance of positivity, like all those different things that abundance mindset contains. And that's where I found some frustration with some friends in my life was it was like because things were maybe challenging for them, like it was like offensive that things were going well for me. And I just don't understand that. If even if things are challenging for me and my friend is popping off, I don't ever want to feel jealous about that. I want to be like, hell yeah, go off queen. Like, that's inspiring for me. Like you are showing me that that's possible. And even like, like when I was single last year, my friends who are in happy marriages, I was never jealous of that. I was like, that is so awesome. Like you're showing me that that is possible. Like I want my own version of that one day, and I found it. And then so like having a friend who was like jealous of my relationship was just really disappointing because it was like, girl, like your person is out there, like, and it just felt like they were upset that I was no longer single with them. And I'm like, I am still here with you. I'm still supporting you on your journey. But again, it was just like that lack mentality. It just seemed like it had so much control over her. So that was just really disappointing. You know, it is what it is, but in staying true to my values of abundance and respect and balance, that was kind of inevitably what led me to releasing that connection with that friend. And lovingly, like I only want the best for her, but it wasn't a healthy connection for me anymore. And I wasn't feeling respected in that friendship anymore. So that being said, I guess those are my values. I hadn't thought about that much, but there we go. Okay, question 37. Where did I choose integrity over comfort? What comes to mind first is with just boundary setting. I feel like integrity is like a version of remaining loyal to ourselves and loyal to our values and what we also like, what we want to manifest and what we want to cultivate in our life. And so there are definitely many moments this year where whether I was coming up against like an anxiety pattern that I was maybe facing and like wanting to behave a certain way and feeling the temptation of that in my relationship, but not wanting to compromise my integrity. And so having that uncomfortable conversation that's vulnerable and telling my partner, like, I'm feeling really insecure about this. And it's like leading me to like want to have this behavior and just putting it out on the table, being like, I'm not proud of this, but this is where my mind is at. I'm really proud of myself for bringing that to my partner and very grateful that he's a healthy man who can hold that and love me through that and not judge me or blame me for it, but help me work through that and ground me and remind me that I'm safe and that it's like, okay, that I'm having these feelings, but ultimately I can let them go because I'm safe in this relationship. So that's something where I could tell like integrity really helped me overcome the discomfort of that anxiety. And then also like in boundary setting, like I said, wanting to set healthy boundaries in our relationship to keep the foundation healthy. So as we continue to grow and move forward with our marriage and family, that we have like really healthy boundaries and a healthy foundation. And sometimes that meant having like very real and raw conversations. But again, like they were very healthy and safe conversations. So I'm grateful for that. And then I think like the boundaries that I set with, and I mentioned this in part one, like I was presented with this job opportunity to be a content creator for this company. And it sounded good, but I was setting boundaries with them and it was kind of uncomfortable. I'd never really come, like, I guess, gone to an employer and been like, these are my boundaries. And it was uncomfortable. It was a little like, I had to like really work through that process of like bringing that to someone, to a potential employer. But I knew like, integrity wise, like that I worked very, very hard on establishing balance in my life and that my work has immense value. That's why this job opportunity like came to me. I wasn't seeking it out. It just came to me. So even though like those boundaries led to me turning down that job opportunity because their reaction to my boundaries was super weird, I'm very glad I didn't compromise on my worth and my integrity and what I've learned throughout these past like several years of being a professional. So that's something I'm grateful for. Okay, question 38. How did I redefine success? This is such a good question. This came up for me a lot this year, like success. I feel like I redefined success to be like not just monetary. That's definitely part of it, but not like attaching my success to money. Like I think ultimately it's success if I'm doing something that I love, if it's something that feels aligned, if it's something that brings me joy, and then money is a part of that. And so that's something too that I've really been able to, I guess, like shape my definition of success, as well as freedom. I think freedom really goes hand in hand with success. And that was another reason why I turned down that job opportunity, is because they're very rigid on certain things that they wanted. And it just would compromise this sacred flow and my own feminine flow with how I've set up my lifestyle and my creative process. I didn't want that to be controlled by anyone. And so success for me is having the freedom to say no to stuff that's not aligned, and to have that freedom to move at my own flow. And that's just invaluable. So that's how I've redefined success, is really like freedom to be myself, show up, express myself, and move at my own pace, I would say. Okay, question 39. What did I stop chasing? I would say I stopped chasing external validation. That was something I really came up against this year, especially with like shifting to more content creation. Of course, I would start to get like a little crazy on like followers, comments, likes, views, because that's, how you grow and monetize. It's natural. But also, it was affecting my happiness way too much. And it was affecting my creativity way too much. Because then I started to think, like, what can I make? What can I produce to get this result? Rather than just like, what's going to be fun for me? And I don't really care about the result. That's something that, like, has actually naturally shifted to more success and to attracting aligned collaborations, and ultimately me creating work that I like to look back on and it makes me laugh, or I feel proud, or it's something I enjoy sharing, or something that's like connected me to people. That's something that I feel like letting go of the external has helped me with. And now it's like, I'm grateful for all the people who tune in, but it's not something that like is a driver. I feel like it's kind of more like a byproduct. And I'm not allowing like negative feedback also influence me. That's just kind of inevitable if you put yourself out there. And of course, I've had like weird comments or mean comments or whatever on the stuff I've put out there, and I just have to remind myself that they don't know what they're talking about. Like anyone who takes time out of their day to like leave a mean comment, it's like they have bigger issues. A lot of times it's them operating off of their own like assumption or just negativity. And that's not something that like I want to shape my reality or shape how I create either. It's like people will say anything. And a lot of times a lot of it's just not even based in reality or based in truth. And so it's like, I don't need to let that influence me or ruin my day? So I would say external validation. I've stopped chasing that, which I'm very grateful for, because it's just like chasing the carrot at the end of the stick. And it's like, I want to stay true to myself and not like make stuff just because it's like what I think people want. It's like, that's not how I'm designed. Okay, last question of this section and then one final section. Okay, question 40. I think in 2026, what I'll be carrying forward will be, I feel like I really learned my value and advocating for that and not being afraid to say no to things that don't reflect that value or honor my time. I'm definitely taking that with me. Seems I want to carry it forward. Yeah, I think also knowing that, like, as hard as it is sometimes to release certain connections or opportunities, just like trusting in the fact that it's making space for the things and people and opportunities that are aligned. Because, like, with that one friend I was mentioning, I felt a lot of grief when I had to let that connection go. I cried and it really upset me. And even now, like, I still have moments of sadness. And it's like, I know it's for the best. And it's a decision I made to honor myself and to honor my belief of what true friendship looks like. And that's support. And that is mutual celebration. And that is abundance mindset and expansive thinking. I don't want to just like have someone that like I gossip with, or just like talk about earthly things. Like I want to explore and grow with my friends. So that's something that I've really needed to explore and I'll be carrying with me into this next year, is just calling in more aligned connections. And that also goes for, I would say, like my power and accepting that like I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. And the people and the things again that are really meant for me and that will bring me the most joy, I am that cup of tea for them, if that makes sense. So just remembering that, and it's just another way that I just wanna lock in on my self-worth and self-respect, because I definitely felt a lot of not a lot of, but, like, I definitely felt from some of my connections this year, and even it was, like, reflected back to me just, like, how I can be or how maybe other people feel intimidated by me. It's not that I'm intimidating, I had to catch myself. It's not that I'm intimidating, but receiving this feedback from people of like, I feel really intimidated by you, I feel really triggered by you, and learning to not take that personally, um, holding space for that person and their experience, but also not making myself smaller because of that feedback. And that's something that like I really needed to confront this year and loving those people and appreciating them, but also not shaping myself to make myself more digestible for them. It's like, okay, if that's how you feel, that is totally fine. I'll see you when I see you, but knowing that I'm just the right flavor for the right people, and that the more I show up as my authentic self, the more I'll continue to attract those connections. And I think, like, just with all the growth I've experienced this year, it makes sense why certain things would be shed because maybe when that friendship was established, I was still in my very wounded state and I was very, like, used to making myself small or not living out loud as much or not walking in my truth as much. And just so naturally as I continue to shift, not everybody's gonna stay on that path with me. So what I'm carrying with me is the fact that my power is mine and it's not anything I need to dim and it's not anything I need to be ashamed of. And however people react to it is their reaction. I don't need to take that on or take it personally. And all the positive feedback I've received from people is something that like I'm allowing to nourish me as well, whether it's from my clients or from my fiance or from family or other friends, like remembering that there are so many people out there that do support me and that do appreciate what I bring to the table and not allowing like just one or two things to influence how I see myself or how I show up. So that's something I'll be taking with me is knowing that my power is something that is valuable and necessary and that I deserve to stand in no matter how other people react to it. So that's that. Okay, final section, you guys. Here we go. All right. This is the closing the year. Question 41. What am I ready to release from 2025? I feel like I kind of touched upon this, but staying small, censoring myself, jealousy, insecurity. I feel like I did a lot of work on all of those things this year. And it was very potent work, it was very powerful work, and I feel like I'm finally moving into a place of it not being a part of my daily life anymore and exploring what life looks like without those things now and what I've made space for and letting those things go and what living in my power looks like, feels like, how that experience is on a daily basis moving forward. So I'm very excited to continue to practice that embodiment. Question 42. What energy am I grateful for? This is a good question. What energy am I grateful for? What energy am I grateful for? I'm not sure how to answer this. What energy am I grateful for? Maybe the energy of love? Is that like too simple of an answer? I don't know. I feel like I'm grateful for I feel like this year it was a year 8 for me numerology wise, which was or sorry, year 7 is what I meant to say. And that was a big year of introspection. That was the energy of this year. And oh my gosh, was that real for me? I feel like it was a very big year of like needing more privacy while also putting myself out there more and needing more sacred alone time in order to create more things that are public. So I think with 2026 being year 8 for me, which is like career success, fruits of your labor coming through, abundance, like it feels very timely energy wise that like I feel like I did so much internal heavy lifting this year that like I'm able to step forward into this next year feeling very grounded, feeling very prepared and I guess informed on how to move forward and knowing myself and knowing I mean, just that I'm safe and secure in my relationship as well, and that I have all the resources, all the support, all the love that I need. I mean, that's the energy I think that I'm most grateful for. It's just this energy of abundance, truly. Um, and just like satisfaction, I think too, and allowing that to continue to um inspire me to move forward as well. So okay, question 43. What version of myself am I honoring goodbye? Honoring goodbye. That's interesting wording. I think the version of myself who felt like broken or incomplete, or felt like she just needed to heal in order to be ready. But I really have learned so much on a deeper level this year how healing is not linear, and just staying in tune with myself is and honoring my needs is how I feel the most whole and complete. And that can look different on a day-to-day basis. And that's okay. That's just how we stay present with ourselves. So I would say, like, honoring goodbye, that version of myself that felt like she had to do it all on her own, like felt like she was alone, or felt like what she wanted was far away, um, or felt like she wasn't doing enough. Like, I think that version of me, she's able to rest now. And this version of me now is very grounded and self-assured, and also just I'm just nicer to myself. It really is that simple, y'all. So that's something I'm very grateful for. Question 44, what do I forgive myself for? I think I feel like I forgive myself for a few things. Like, it's hard to even put into words. Like, forgive myself for living too much of my masculine, which I wouldn't say I did anything wrong intentionally with that. That's very much like a result of conditioning, but like denying myself and overriding and masking how I was feeling, and compromising too much, and overgiving, and all those things that led to burnout and depletion. I feel like I'm forgiving myself for that more. And that's something I really came up against when I was writing my book. And even like rewatching some of my old podcast episodes, processing like the breakup that I went through a couple years ago, I just like see that version of myself who went through just really awful stuff, and who like allowed a lot of stuff, or just kept staying in cycles from this place of like self-punishment, of like feeling like I need to work harder for the pain to stop, or I needed to work harder to be successful, and like just all those kinds of things. Forgiving myself for denying and again not ignoring. I felt it. I was acknowledging it, but I was overwriting it. That intuitive whisper. Um that's something that I feel like have been forgiving myself for. And as I've like been writing my book and or rewatching podcast episodes, being like, oh, I just want to like take that girl, because she was a girl. I feel more like a woman now. She was a girl. And I just want to be like, you do not need to put up with that shit. Like, so in that, I feel like I really have, like, in that growth, in that forgiveness, in that honoring that respect and balance and integrity, as I've explained about this year, and allowing myself to be really loved. I feel like I have entered my womanhood in a lot of ways. Like, I really finally feel like a woman. And so that's been really exciting. I still am in my maiden era. I'm not in my motherhood era yet, but I feel like I'm in kind of like maiden 2.0. Like, I feel like I'm not like a little maiden nymph anymore. I'm more of like maiden, like siren, like woman. So that's been really, really nice to step into and explore what that means to me. And it kind of goes hand in hand with that Empress archetype as well, as I was mentioning. Okay, y'all. Final question. Sorry, my dog is barking again. He is really on alert today. Question 45. What intention do I gently plant for 2026? What intention do I gently plant for 2026? And I kind of journaled about this yesterday, but I think for 2026, I just want to continue to create more from my heart and really listen to what my heart needs to express, and honor that by creating. And also, like, moving my body more. I've been like working on my yoga teacher certification forever now, and I say working is very generous. I've been like barely clicking away at it. So I really want to do that. Not just so I can like teach yoga, but I think for me, just tapping more into my body is something I've been feeling the call for, like in my back, especially. Just having more movement and also just like moving energy around, I think is going to be really important, and tapping into like my breath and all the beautiful things that yoga contains. I think that that's going to be a game changer for me. So I really want to tap more into that. And then I just can't wait to release this book. It's almost done. I'm definitely like in the editing, kinda like final drippings of poems are coming out. Finally wringing it out. So it's getting there. So stay tuned. It's going to be out in 2026 in the springtime. But yeah, and just excited to see where this podcast continues to go. And then wedding planning. 2026 will be wedding planning and my book baby, and then just more creativity, just as my fully expressed, blossoming, womanly empress self. So that was a lot of fun. Those were a lot of questions. Thanks for bearing with me for this part 2, and especially if you tuned into part 1 as well. I hope you had a great time exploring these questions yourself. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments when it comes down to how these questions helped you reflect on this past year, or just wherever you are in life, depending on where you're tuning in right now, or when you're tuning in, I should say. But either way, this was so much fun to spend this time with you, to do this deep reflection, to explore so many areas of life. Gosh, I feel like it helped me just look back in a very intentional way. And it's just been so great being able to celebrate life on this podcast with you. Thank you again, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you for listening, for watching, for sharing. It was crazy when I got my stats with Spotify Wrapped this year that my podcast was one of the top shared podcasts. I was like, that's so cool. So thank you for sharing, and for, again, just spending your time with me and taking time out of your life to connect and be on this journey. So I truly appreciate it. I'm so excited for what 2026 brings both of us. And I would love to hear about your journey again in the comments. Please let me know your thoughts, if anything resonated with you, if you're looking forward to anything, and if you have gentle seeds that you're planting for this upcoming year. I'd love to know about it. We can manifest it together. So with that being said, Happy New Year. Thank you so much. And many, many blessings coming your way. I wish you all the best. Please, again, like, subscribe if you want to stay connected and hear further, or I guess more conversations further down the road. As again, I release my book, I'm going to be doing an episode all about my book when it's ready. And who else? Or who else? Not who else. What else? Who knows? All this talking. What else? Who knows? There we go. But either way, thank you again. I truly appreciate it. And this is Eclipse Evolution. I'm your hostess, Savannah Rose. Bye for now.